believe. The cancers of the world, they try to one-up each other. They see us as weak because we have empathy, because we love each other, because we love innocence and beauty, because we want to have communities. They see themselves as strong because they're willing to do horrible things, and they practice that callous evil on us. It is their religion. They are members of the order of death. One of the more little-known examples has just been declassified and come out in the last 3 years, and that's that in Israel, from 1951 to 1961, the U.S. government, in collusion with the government of Israel, paid them to radiate 110,000 Sephardi Jewish children. For those who don't know what the Sephardi are, that's the dark-skinned or Arabic Jews, not the predominantly European-blooded Jews. And what was this all about? It was about a test to create cadres of people that will do this. That's what Tuskegee's about. They're not studying syphilis. That's what atomic soldiers are about. They're not testing what radiation does. They are creating huge institutions filled with scientists and doctors and researchers and people who are elitist and think that they're doing something good to the world through all of this. They are forging cadres of Nazi killers. They even brought the Nazis in to help run those programs in this country. Can you imagine taking delivery of hundreds and hundreds of huge, high-powered radiation projection devices and telling the predominantly poor Sephardic Jews who are immigrating into Israel, come over here, and we're going to take you in and test to see if you've got any fungus, that's why they're called the ringworm children, and give you a dental exam. And in some cases, they kill the little kids right on the table. They hit them with so much radiation. Other times, they give them a lesser dose. Most of them die within a few years. 110,000. So if our government, in collusion with Israel, would pay to radiate 110,000 Jewish children, would they carry out 9/11? Yeah! Pregnant wives of GIs, and this is so important, pregnant wives of GIs in New Mexico and Arizona, thousands of them. And this has even been in Time magazine. We're back in like 91. They've been declassified for 20 years. Imagine being an army doctor and saying, here you go, honey, here's some vitamins for your baby. And these women would take these pills and have violent miscarriages, and the military would be there to, quote, study it. Take Project Shad, going on from the 50s right through until the mid-1980s, totally declassified. They would tell young American soldiers, young British soldiers, joint program, Portondown, England, just walk into this chamber, sign this agreement, we're going to test the flu bug on you, be patriotic, let us test the flu on you. They'd hit them with lethal sarin or VX nerve gas or cyanide-based gas. They would kill them on the spot. Again, testing these doctors, that's what the government was really doing. Well, if we do this, we get it by the Soviets. A few lives, it adds to greater help later. The lives of a few, are small next to the needs of the many. This is how they rationalize and build this army of individuals. In 1968, in this city, lethal biological agents were released in a series of tests. Deaths resulted, that's declassified, but all other details are classified. That has been all over the news. They're worried about Al Qaeda hitting New York, which doesn't exist. Hell, the U.S. government already hit New York in '68 with a biological attack. There are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of declassified examples. Look at how their own Army field manuals report DU is deadly and shouldn't be used. The particulates, the poison, the radiation, they're using it in 10 proving grounds in the U.S. They're using it all over the world. The numbers are coming in of tripling, quadrupling of birth defects. The troops have the same numbers, and does this government give a hell out of them? No. It's a religious sacrament to kill the people that serve them. They get off on it. It's what they're into. They pride themselves on being ruthless, and this stuff has a half-life of 4.5 billion years. They have a death wish for this planet. And that takes me briefly to the history of government-sponsored terrorism. It has been completely declassified out of the Nazi records. It was testified in the Nuremberg trials. We'll skip what happened with the Reichstag in '33. It has been admitted that on the Polish-German border at Gleiwitz, the German military took some concentration camp victims, shot them, left their bodies, dressed them up like Poles, had the newsreels ready the next day of the dead Polish soldiers who were really dead concentration camp victims, and we've been struck by the foreign enemy. We've got to invade, and World War II had started. Then in 1953, the United States government totally declassified Operation Ajax, the after-action reports from Kermit Roosevelt, who ran the attacks. 210 Downing Street, enter the White House, say, we staged terror attacks, we bombed people, we shot people, false flag, this works really good, we should do this over and over again. They carried out terror attacks in Iran, and they blamed it on Mohammad Mossadegh, who was pro-America, who had kicked the communists out of his country, who was doing everything he could to have a free society because he wanted to keep a little bit of the money that British Petroleum had been taking their oil for free. And that's what started this whole cycle that we see and we witness today. The next year they did the same thing in Guatemala. And they did it hundreds of times. And of course we have the Gulf of Tonkin. We had all these naval officers and others. There were articles back in '64 in the San Diego Tribune, Herald Tribune, that no one attacked them. They sent in special forces with small boats to attack the Vietnamese, trying to get them to shoot the destroyers that were driving back and forth, hoping they'd shoot at them. The Vietnamese were too smart. Didn't even fire back. And the phone calls have now been released with LBJ and McNamara, where they're staging the whole thing, and the CIA and the NSA's own history departments admit that it was all staged. Now, no one was killed at the Gulf of Tonkin, but the resulting lie led to 58,000 American deaths and over 1.5 million dead Vietnamese. Another staged false flag